Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a bowl of butter. Don't rain my cloud to rain on my parade. Oh wait, this isn't working. Yep, that's the reference to the movie that I'm going to be reviewing today, Mrs. Doubtfire. So yeah, guys, so today I am going to be doing my review on Mrs. Doubtfire. So yeah. So before I go right over here, I'm going to say this. Oh, okay. I'm going to go there right over here right now. So yeah. Okay. Make me a woman. Yeah, that's a reference to Mrs. Doubtfire. So yeah. Cue the intro. Okay, guys, this is it. I am going to be reviewing this movie right now, today. So yeah, so without further ado, I am going to be reviewing this movie right now, actually. So yeah. Hey guys, this is Evan's Disney's Film Corner 2023 here, and today, guess what, guys? And today I am going to be reviewing Mrs. Doubtfire, came in the year of 1993. So yeah, so I'm going to read this plot on the internet. So yeah. So basically what the plot's about, trouble that he has a little excess address to his children, divorced Daniel Hillard hatches an a responsible plan, and with the help of his creative brother Frank. He dresses as an older British woman and convinces his ex-wife, if Miranda, to actually hire him as a Nancy. Mrs. Doubtfire wins over the children and helps Daniel to become a better parent. But when both Daniel and his nanny, Portia, which I mispronounced that name, but that's okay, must meet different perils at the same time, at the same restaurant, his secrets may be exposed. So yeah. So that's basically what the plot's about this movie. So yeah, so I did remember that this movie actually did came out on November 24th of 1993 as well. And I know this movie actually became the second highest grossing movie of 1993, right under the number one highest grossing movie of 1993 being Jurassic World, which was the highest grossing movie at the time, actually. So yeah, and the 1990s as well, until Titanic came out in 1997. That became the highest grossing movie of all time back then. That was the first ever movie that crossed over $1 billion at the box office. So yeah. And also, yeah, even though it did receive mixed reviews upon its release, but its reputation reputation and popularity has been improved considerably, being placed in the 67th in the American Film Institute for AFI's 100 years laugh list, and 40th on the Bravo's funniest movies of all time. The music was scored by Howard Soul, which honestly I will get to that a bit later. So yeah. And this movie is also directed by Chris Columbus, who also, yeah. So yeah, guys, so what do I think of this movie? I have to say, this is definitely one of Robin Williams' best movies. This is definitely my second favorite Robin Williams movie, right under my personal favorite Robin Williams movie being Aladdin. So yeah, but honestly, yeah, I just absolutely love this movie. I just love Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, yeah, this movie was absolutely hilarious and very heartfelt at the exact same time. I mean, yeah. I mean, this movie is also really heartfelt as well. And also, yeah, and also this movie is absolutely hilarious as well, which honestly, yeah, I know this movie is actually a comedy drama movie as well, which honestly, yeah. And also, speaking of Chris Columbus, and who also directed this movie, he's the same director who directed the first two Home Alone movies, Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Which honestly, my favorite movie of Chris Columbus is definitely Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. That is definitely my favorite film of his. Like, yeah, I just absolutely love Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. That's definitely my favorite Home Alone movie as well. And also, yeah. And let's talk. Even though this movie, I forgot to mention that this movie is actually and is actually this movie is actually, just give me a sec, guys. This movie is actually 2 hours long, actually. So yeah, and even 20th Century Fox actually made this movie as well, which the company is now owned by Disney, and especially they now own Mrs. Disney now owns Mrs. Doubtfire as well, and 20th Century Fox now is actually called 20th Century Studios. So yeah, I know it has a $25 million budget as well. So yeah, and let's talk about the cast of this movie, which honestly, I thought Robin Williams as Daniel Hillard, aka Mrs. Doubtfire, which honestly he was absolutely phenomenal in this movie as well, and also absolutely hilarious and very heartfelt in this movie as well. He was definitely fantastic. Like, there's so much hilarious scenes in that movie where Mrs. Doubtfire was cooking, and then he actually he tries to cook like, but he actually got basil, and he pours it on the steak. Pours the rest of it, and she says, "Oh, damn, that was so funny." And then but yeah, that was honestly really funny, and also yeah, and also that scene, where Mrs. Doubtfire was also rocking out to that music, which honestly with that and dancing while he was actually sweeping the floor with the vacuum, which honestly was really good and also really funny as well. And also, yeah, and even Pierce Brosnan is also in this movie, which is honestly, yeah, he was also in this movie, who played Stuart. And also, Harvey Fierstein as Frank Hillard was also really great in this movie. And yeah, I would say Stanley Field as Miranda Hillard was also really fantastic in this movie as well. And I also forgot to mention Mara Wilson is actually in this movie. Actually, yeah, she also played Matilda in the 1996 movie of Matilda, actually, which honestly I thought she was absolutely phenomenal in this movie as well. And also, yeah. And also, yeah, there's a lot of funny scenes in this movie, so yeah. And also, yeah, and even Polly Holiday as Gloria Graney, which also was really fantastic in this movie, so yeah. And also, yeah, and even the ending of this movie is also really heartfelt as well, and also very emotional as well. And also, yeah, and yeah, so overall, oh yeah. Which at the end of the movie, Miranda visits Daniel on the set of filming, which yeah, and also yeah, which also was really heartfelt as well. So yeah, and now let's talk about the music and the score of this movie, which is actually composed by Howard Stroll, which honestly I thought he did absolutely phenomenal composing this movie. I mean his enough said. I mean, his score of this movie is definitely fantastic. So yeah. So and yeah, and now let's talk about the music and the score of this movie, which honestly still holds up to this day. I know. Now let's talk about the production design of this movie, which honestly, it still holds up to this day. 30 years later, it still looks fantastic, and it still looks absolutely phenomenal to this day at the exact same time as well. So yeah, and yeah, even though this movie is also shot in location as well. So yeah, and I also forgot to mention that it is actually based on a book. It's actually based on a book. This movie is actually based on a book called Marmalade Doubtfire. So from Anne Fine. So yeah, which is a 1987 novel that was adapted into a movie with this. So yeah, and yeah, this is and even I forgot to mention that this movie also won an Academy Award for. And also, this movie also won an Oscar for Best Makeup, and also it won a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, and also Robin Williams also was awarded for Best a Golden Globe award for Best Actor in a Motion Picture, musical or comedy, which he definitely did deserve. So yeah, which honestly, yeah. Oh, so overall, guys, I have nothing else to say about this movie. So yeah, so overall, Mrs. Doubtfire is definitely one of the best comedy movies ever, and also definitely one of the best and definitely one of Robin Williams' best movies as well. So yeah, so if you haven't seen Mrs. Doubtfire, where have you been? I highly recommend it. So yeah, it is streaming on Disney Plus. So yeah, so I'm gonna give Mrs. Doubtfire a 10 out of 10 spectacular. So yeah, guys, what do you think of my review on Mrs. Doubtfire? So yeah, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe my channel, and make sure to like this video. So yeah. So, stay tuned for my movie review on Moonstruck, which will be coming out on Friday, July 21st of this year. So, stay tuned for that. So, yeah. So I make this wish, doing something more for us than this. Who's your favorite fearless hero? We don't talk about Bruno, no. We don't talk about Bruno. What can I say except you're welcome? You're just Popoloco, and bye.